Can you hear me?
Dude, that looks pretty dope.
Can you hear me good? Are you a value-driven individual who prides themselves on getting the most product for your money? Well, that boy, do we have a video for you today, because we're gonna break down the best suspension to get the most suspension for your money. Outside of wheels and tires, suspension is most often one of the first big mods people usually do to their cars. Whether that's getting a simple set of lowering springs, a full-on set of coilovers, or going absolutely crazy with air suspension, it's one of the main ways to take your ride to the next level from both a looks and a performance standpoint. With nearly endless options, it can be hard to narrow down your search to one perfect setup at the right price for you. So today we're gonna go over the most cost-effective values of the bunch. But before we dive right in, go ahead and give that subscribe button a big old gentle little smash. I'm Sean, and if you enjoy all things automotive and want to see some behind the scenes action here at Fitment Industries, go follow me on Instagram at seanb.fi. Let's get started. So we pretty well all want to upgrade our suspension at one point or another, whether that's to replace some worn out components, eliminate some of that pesky wheel gap, or simply increase the handling and the feel of your ride with some more performance-minded parts. And there's a lot of ways to do that, but perhaps the most cost-effective way of all this is doing a little baby spring swap. Whether that's a lowering spring or something that's just more performance-oriented and progressive, a lowering spring set can be had for $200 to about $400. And it's honestly a really good way to go for not a whole hell of a lot of money. You'll be able to drop the car a few fractions of an inch, sometimes a little more, and you will more than likely be moving to a progressive spring with a much stronger spring rate, which will stiffen up the car a little bit, especially under a load, making its handling more predictable and providing more feedback back to the driver. This is also a great option for you guys out there with factory adaptive suspension and whatnot, like the branded title Camaro RIP. We wanted to lower the Camaro a smidge for that more aggressive look, but we didn't want to get rid of its magical magnetic ride suspension. So we threw in a set of Eibach lowering springs, changed up the stance a little bit, gave the suspension a nice little kick in the right direction without spending a ton of money or getting rid of that already top-notch suspension. And we host a ton of reputable brands of lowering springs on our site to help you achieve any look or goal that you may have with a lowering spring. If you're looking for something a bit more aggressive than just a spring swap, changing out both the spring and the shock absorber with a more performance-oriented set is going to do everything you want a coilover to do, but without the adjustment. And maybe more importantly, the setup will be matched together. Matching set springs to your damping system is important to keep the system in check with your goals. If you just go throw a mismatched set of struts and springs together, you risk the chance of getting a setup that can really be pretty stiff or bouncy or all around very uncomfortable, and maybe even impact the handling in a negative manner. Generally speaking, there is a relatively easy to follow setup for specific makes and models, so piecing a kit together doesn't always mean certain doom, but it can go south very quickly if you're not paying close attention to what you're doing. Luckily, buying a kit pre-assembled does usually net a discount, and we offer Bilstein Pro and Pro Plus damper kits for just about anything you can think of, starting under $600. These are a great choice for those looking to upgrade in the handling department without doing anything too crazy or spending a ton of money. From here, your best bet, of course, is going to be a full-on set of coilovers. Coilovers are such a versatile tool that can do all kinds of crazy stuff. First and foremost, you're going to have the ability to adjust your ride height. Typically speaking, this allows you to retain your stock ride height and then go all the way down to slamming it to the ground and making it completely and utterly undrivable. And coilover technology has come so far in the last few years that a lot of the tech that was uber expensive just 5 years ago is now incorporated into some really cost-effective coilovers of today. Take the BC Racing BR coilover, for example. The BR features a monotube shock design. Now, to understand the benefit of a monotube shock, you kind of need to know what a twin tube shock is. Essentially, the difference between the two is that the twin tube shock, while it still uses the traditional piston with holes in it to control dampening by flow, it squeezes that oil into a second tubular oil chamber that uses the gases to help with dampening even further. Whereas a monotube shock only has one chamber and keeps the gases and the oil in the same cylinder, but it's separated by a floating piston. So as the main piston compresses that oil, the floating piston, it's going to allow that oil to slide to the secondary piston and help dampen the system even more by compressing that gas while keeping the gases and oil separated. The twin tube design is cheap to produce and does a good enough job in most cases, but it doesn't take well to abuse and can start to cause aeration between the oil and the gas under heavy abuse. The BC Racing BR series also features a linear piston and damping curve, essentially meaning that the impact force exhibits a consistent feel throughout the entire stroke range. Like if you hit kind of a 2-inch bump on the street or curbing on the racetrack, you'll feel that force of the impact. But then if you were to hit another bump that was twice as large or roughly 4 inches in height, the impact will feel twice as large as that 2-inch bump. Whereas A non-linear may progressively get more aggressive. Using the same example, if a 2-inch bump exerts 2 inches worth of force, a 3-inch bump may exert even double the force of that 2-inch, if that makes any sense. It would ramp up and increasingly become more aggressive the further the shock is compressed. All BC Racing coilovers are full-bodied, so you're looking at height adjustment independent of that preload, which is something you didn't see on a coilover in this price bracket just a few years ago. They also offer one of the widest ranges of damping adjustment with 30 clicks of compression and rebound adjustment simultaneously on the BR series. That's right, these bad boys have both compression and rebound adjustment, even if it isn't independent from each other. From there, you're looking at camber plates on most applications and even rear camber plates on a couple different vehicles as well. Custom spring rates are available, as well as Swift spring upgrades. If you do order custom spring rates, the coilover will come with custom valving paired with those custom spring rates. BC Racing coilovers are also fully rebuildable, with all parts available for purchase and feature a 1-year manufacturer's defect warranty. The amount of features these coilovers offer at a sub $1,000 price point is an absolute game changer, so it comes as no surprise that these are one of our most popular units that we sell. BC Racing BR Series coilovers knock the value proposition straight out of the water. But these aren't the only ones either. If you want to buy into the legacy brand that is Tane Suspension, you can get into a Tane Flex Z coilover kit as low as $817. Tane is one of those brands that has been around for a while now and has a fantastic reputation for making really quality products at a price point that presents great value. The Flex Z utilizes kind of that old school twin tube damper design, and the twin tube design is good for being cost effective and has a slight bit more of comfort attributes to it, whereas a monotube setup will be able to kind of handle more abuse like we talked about earlier. So if you're wanting to retain a more comfortable ride without huge demand for back-to-back abuse, the Tane is going to be one of the best choices for you. You're also getting that full body design, upper mounts, and adjustable compression damping with EDFC compatibility, which stands for Electronic Damper Force Controller. What this does is it actually attaches to the top of this Tane Flex Z coilover and allows you to remotely adjust your damping from the inside of the vehicle, which is pretty cool. Now, this is a separate unit, but it is a nice addition if you choose to go that route. You're also looking at pillow ball mounts here and built-in camber plates where applicable, and Tane takes a lot of pride in their rust-proof coatings as well. With that, these coilovers are fully rebuildable, so 5 years down the road, if a shock fails, you can simply remove the shock portion from the body and replace it instead of needing to buy a whole new assembly, which is pretty cool, and it's going to save you some money long term. This should be your go-to coilover setup if you're looking for a more comfort-oriented setup with all the adjustment of a much more expensive coilover. Another huge value here without the adjustable damping is the $525 Function Inform Type 1 coilover. Function Inform has been making coilovers since 2005 and has quickly been soaring in popularity by offering a pretty healthy coilover at an insanely low price. For just $525, you can get yourself a full-body coilover with upper strut mounts included, with spring rates that match the preset damping. That's pretty crazy. This is probably the only coilover under $550 that offers a full-body setup, which is absolutely crucial to not having a bad time. This is the kind of coilover that's going to take a good bit of abuse being super low by utilizing tried and true products that are very reliable, as opposed to spending all their money on the latest tech. Without any adjustable damping, these probably aren't going to be as versatile with street ride quality as some of the other options on this list either. However, at this price point, Function Inform is undoubtedly the best option for you if you're on a super tight budget. There is no more excuses for buying no-name products with shoddy build quality with the price of these coilovers. But that's about going to wrap it up for the best suspension values going into 2021. I hope this video can help you narrow down your choices and inevitably down to making the decision that's best for you. What are you guys running on your rides? Did they make the list? Let me know. I'm genuinely curious and I try to respond to as many comments as I possibly can. And if you want to snag yourself a set of any of these coilovers, they are all in stock and ready to ship right now. So head over to fitmentindustries.com to browse the most comprehensive wheel, tire, and suspension store of all time. Don't forget to subscribe to stay notified with our daily uploads. And if that's not enough for you, go check out our second YouTube channel, Fitment Industries Garage, for all kinds of other technical content. I'm Sean, Fitment Industries, Sean B.FI on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.